I see a lot of you Aries really transcending past baggage. The reason why I'm saying that is because you have the King of Pentacles and the Seven of Wands. This is you. This is others trying to essentially do dirty by you. And you've had people who've done that to you in the past. You thought that you can trust them. You thought that they saw the bigger picture. You were going somewhere and they disrespected you. They completely ruined your trust, right? It was a metaphorical stab in the back, metaphorically speaking, strictly. So the thing is that the Five of Cups now is about how you regret getting yourselves into relationships with these stupid people in the first place. And you were a little bit too strung up, Leo, on if you could do it over again, you would do things differently, right? So time. And you Aries, right, have to understand that. Stop worrying about that. What is done cannot be undone. The best thing for you to do is to change your circumstance now and in the future. So the Nine of Cups now is about how, since that's the case, you're going to, in the future, you're going to still interact because of shared numbers with people who are very much so overly confident and think that they are the plug and that, you know, you need to come to them for everything, right? They're giving you everything. When in actuality, it should really be even. You should offer them something. They should offer you something. And if it isn't, right, 50-50, because people get so bent out of shape about 50-50. What do you think a relationship is? 50-50 is both people pulling their weight. So if you're saying that you don't want 50-50, what you're saying is you don't want both people to pull their own weight, is what you're saying by definition. Right? Because what is gonna happen of one person if the other person in the relationship is doing everything, right? So you Aries do not want, see, that's the thing. You Aries do not want to be sitting down on your thumbs, twiddling it, right? You know what I mean? I know it sounds funny, but you Aries want to be actually active in a relationship, giving back as well. You know, not just your body, not just trying to make it seem like, you know, you're just giving something away and, you know, no one can actually say what it is that you're getting or what, more so specifically, what you're giving, but you actually want to contribute. And a person cannot hold that over your head, that they're the ones exclusively giving everything. Otherwise, it just seems like it's just emotional sabotage. It just seems like those people are just trying to get you to feel indebted to them so that you can do whatever it is that they want to, right? You Aries don't want that. So the thing is that the Five of Swords is about you Aries, right? If a person is doing that, you will take your lumps, you will take your correction, you will take that lesson that you had to learn, right? And you will learn from that, right? So the thing is that the Three of Wands represents so that the next time you get with somebody else, right, you're checking to see if they will allow you to contribute, you know? Because the only types of people who don't want to contribute to a relationship are dysfunctional parasites. They're people who are parasitic. But more so, and that's just a description, but more so, they are dysfunctional. You know, more accurately, right, they are dysfunctional because people should be happy that you're willing to give in a relationship. You know, that's the point. And the Eight of Swords now is about how, but if they have to make you feel like you're trash, then it's not going to happen. But the Eight of Swords represent you Aries are going through a very a very spiritual time, because I know fire signs don't really get the credit for this, but fire signs can be spiritual. Fire signs don't get the credit for that because oftentimes a lot of fire signs don't really spend a lot of their time talking about their spirituality or talking about their religious affiliation. Most of the times, that's something that you would hear from water signs talking about that, right? They deal with the belief, right? Or the belief systems, religious or religion or spirituality. But with fire signs are the ones that talk about the least what system or what religion they actually believe in. And this right around this time, this big transformational time for you Aries, this is huge because a lot of you Aries, right? And I'm an Aries moon myself. You're reforming what you once thought about the world and your misconceptions, right? Just in general, but yes, in love too, to now fit what needs to actually happen, because you Aries understand love completely on a different level and much more in depth. So the Empress representing Libra, opposite zodiac sign of Aries. So this has you, right, being able to understand yourself way more subtly, right? Yes, a more overt level, but subtly as well. You know way more about yourself than you did a month ago, 6 months ago, 3 months ago, 2 months ago, a month ago, right? 2 weeks ago. You know way more about yourself, and it's almost like you Aries have been kind of blinded to who you were for a very long period of time. And now you Aries have a better understanding of, you want to contribute. You don't just, even if the person can afford to retire you, you want to contribute. You want to find some sort of way to contribute. You don't want to just, and that is my friends, is the innocence of a child. That's what in the good book, if you know what I'm talking about, in the book, in the scriptures, if you know what I mean, it says that you need to be as of children. You need to be childlike. What they're not talking about. See, most people misconstrue it. And this is what I mean when I say that things can be misconstrued because you have different types. Some of these things can be correct and some of these things are dysfunctional, right? So when the book says to be childlike, they're not necessarily, you can do that if you want, but they're not necessarily talking about immature or acting stupid. You can do that, but at some point there has to be some level of a catharsis, some sort of an enlightenment. Everything comes to everything comes to a form of enlightenment. As long as it's coming from a form of enlightenment, you good, right? So if it's not being immature for enlightenment purposes, you got a butt whipping coming, right? So what the scriptures mean when it says you need to be like a child, it means that you have to have an open mind and be willing to learn and be willing to receive information as well as observe, right? Because a child is like that. A child, it can give. A child has no malice. A child can give. A child can is very much so open-minded. And as we grow to adults, we learn to be way more biased, way more choosy, way more, fickle, way more selfish. So the things that the Aries represents a child, right? So it's about you Aries getting back to that, getting back to what some of the things that you are supposed to represent, keeping the knowledge and keeping the wisdom of what you've learned, but being innocent like a child in the sense of being open-minded and allowing people to show you. That deals with reception. That is reception. Allowing people to show you if they are the correct person for you to date or if there are people that you should stay away from. And the only way for you to really learn about this is for you Aries to be receptive enough, right? Because reception does not mean weak. A lot of times right? People will think that reception means weak, right? The right side of the Kabbalistic tree is about being active, and on the left side of the Kabbalistic tree is about being receptive or receiving. Aries being ruled by Mars is on the left side. Along Mars, Saturn, and Mercury is on the left-hand side of the tree, right? So with Aries, with you Aries, you're learning how to be more receptive, right? That deals with spirituality, because spirituality also ties itself to being receptive, receiving, being still and observing the world around you and observing yourself, what you're doing, where you are, but also observing the world around you and knowing how to move because you observed something. What does it mean? You studied it. So you Aries are learning how to move. You realize how to move better if you were to be in a relationship, better by yourself as a single individual, but you're showing another person the same level of common courtesy that you would show yourself even if you were single, just to another person. And you are also willing to be receptive, right? To observe if a person wants to offer that same type of interaction with you. If they don't, you'll just leave them alone. So now the Ace of Pentacles represents, and that's what we call value. That's right. Very good. So let's clarify the Ace of Pentacles. High Priestess, Two of Wands, the Strength, and the Hierophant. If they are not ready for it, you'll just leave them alone and ghost. While they think that they have the upper hand, you'll just leave them alone. But if they are ready for it, then the two of you will end up getting along, and it will be a very meaningful, valuable relationship. So get out there and date.